There are moments that change the rhythm of your heart forever, moments where the universe forces you to choose between looking away and stepping into the light. It was a Tuesday evening, somewhere between 6 and 7, when the city was retreating into its golden-lit sanctuaries. The air carried the sharp, biting chill of early winter, a reminder that for the forgotten ones, the night is a predator. I was sitting in my car, watched the world go by through the windshield, when I saw him. He was a small, fragile shadow standing by a mountain of trash, his head bowed with a weariness that seemed older than time itself. But it was what hung beneath him that stopped my breath. A massive, heavy tumor swung beneath his thin belly, a grotesque anchor that made every step a monumental struggle. I felt a sudden, heavy tightness in my chest as I watched him forage through the frozen remnants of human excess. He wasn't just a dog, he was a living testament to the cruelty of indifference. I knew I couldn't just leave him there to be swallowed by the darkness. I shifted my car into gear and began a slow, silent pursuit. For several blocks, I trailed him at a snail's pace, the hum of my engine a quiet companion to his labored gait. He didn't run. He couldn't. The weight he carried was a cruel shackle that had robbed him of his dignity and his defense. Every few yards, he would pause, his breath coming in shallow puffs, his eyes scanning the cold pavement for a reason to keep moving. I called the veterinary rescue team, my voice trembling with a mixture of anger and hope. We coordinated our movements with a quiet precision, closing the circle around him as the street lights flickered to life. When the team arrived, the dog simply stopped. He didn't growl or snap. He just stood there, his body vibrating with a fear so profound it was almost tangible. It was the posture of total surrender. As we draped the first warm blanket over his shivering frame, he seemed to exhale a lifetime of tension. He allowed himself to be lifted, a broken vessel finally reaching a shore where the hands were gentle and the heart was kind. The transition to the brightly lit veterinary clinic was jarring. Under the unforgiving surgical lights, the true scale of his affliction was revealed. The tumor was immense, a dark mass that had stolen the vitality from the rest of his body. The veterinarian palpated the growth with practiced care before looking up at me. Her words were a somber relief. "The tumor was benign," she said, "but its sheer size made it a ticking time bomb. If left alone, it would eventually turn malignant or cause his organs to fail." It was a death sentence delayed only by his sheer will to survive. We decided then and there that his life was worth the fight. Before the surgery, we had to build his strength. For a week, we fed him the nutrients his body had craved for years, surrounding him with a quiet, steady presence. We wanted him to know, perhaps for the first time, that he was seen and that he was loved. On the day of the operation, the air in the clinic was charged with a focused intensity. I watched through the observation window as the surgeons worked with incredible precision. Hours passed like centuries until finally, the doctor emerged. The surgery was a success. The anchor was gone. For the first time in years, his body belonged to him again. The month that followed was a miracle of small victories. In the quiet sanctuary of the recovery ward, his vacant stare began to soften into a flicker of curiosity. His fur regained its luster, and the strength returned to his legs. Watching him take his first steps without that heavy burden was like watching a prisoner walk through a gate that had been locked for a lifetime. I realized then that I could never let him go back to the world that had discarded him. A bond had been forged in the shadows of those cold streets, a silent promise that I intended to keep. Exactly 1 month after that fateful evening, I brought him home. My house was already filled with the joyful energy of my 3 other rescued dogs, and I wondered how they would receive this new, quiet soul. The introduction was a moment of pure grace. My companions seemed to sense his history, approaching him with soft nudges and wagging tails, welcoming him into the pack as if he had always been part of the family. Today, when I look out at my garden, I see 4 dogs running through the grass, their ears flopping in the wind. The dog who once could not run now leads the way, his movements fluid and free. He is no longer defined by the weight he carried or the trash he scavenged. He is defined by the love he gives and the safety he feels. In saving him, I realized once more that every heartbeat matters, and even the heaviest anchors can be lifted by the power of a single, compassionate choice.